Hello, friends. I'm going to talk about a band that I just love. I love this band since the '90s, I think, maybe even before that. A band called My Bloody Valentine. It's they people call them different things. There's one label that gets stuck with bands like this, and they call it shoegaze because when you go see them play live, they just sort of stare at their shoes while they're playing, right? Kind of a dumb name for the genre. To me, it's like post rock in a way. The bands that they call post rock have a heaviness to them. It's not metal. It's not the metal style of heaviness. It is and it's also not like the rock and roll style of heaviness. It's more like a technical type of heaviness where the heaviness comes from the onslaught, the wall of sound, of tonality, of music, of distortion. It becomes like a thing in itself, the distortion sound. Um, there's a lot of bands that use effects like reverb and distortion and things like that. The foot pedals you see bands stepping on stage. Kevin Shields of My Bloody Valentine has like a bunch of them that he ignites, and it becomes this sort of grinding wall of distortion in the music that is like it's almost like a washing over you storm of sound. And some people think, okay, that sounds terrible, that sounds like an awful thing, but it's not. It's actually quite musical and beautiful in some ways for what it is, because what it is amplified guitar music. And if you're like me, I have a bunch of guitar amps, and I love to play my guitar through those amps, and I love distortion when it's done correctly and properly. And a lot of guitar players spend a lot of time tweaking knobs, trying to get their tone exactly right, a little bit less mid-range, a little bit more treble, and you click the distortion pedal and you blend a little bit and you add a little bit of this and that, and they mix the sounds together. They overdub. They'll put one guitar on this channel, one guitar on this channel, and the blending of two distorted guitars and discrete channels like that can be kind of wide feeling. Like when you listen with headphones, you feel like you're listening to a landscape of distortion. I love the mythology, the lore of electric guitars, the sort of sacred noise that they create. This sometimes awful drone that they can produce. To me, that's an element of it, and I think Kevin Shields and My Bloody Valentine has kind of found these magical settings, these magical sounds. And another aspect of music, aside from this almost like comforting cloud of distortion, another thing is melody, of course, with music and song structure. But melody, chord changes, there are chord changes and key changes in music that can be almost magical, and like the sound, like that barrage of that wave of sound that's hitting you like a hurricane wind. If there is also that type of magical chord change in there or key change, this kind of music can be actually pretty transcendent and beautiful, and kind of leads you into this kind of world of that music. Because if you listen with headphones, you're going to be tempted to kind of turn it up a little bit loud, not too loud as to hurt your ears, but loud enough to where you feel like you're really experiencing it. It's not in the background, it's right there. And My Bloody Valentine, they another one of their albums that's really popular is called Loveless. It's the one with the red cover that's got a distorted picture of a guitar on there, which looks like the way they sound. And that is a classic album, I think. I love that album. I listen to it fairly often. But they recently put out, well, recently, not recently, it was 2013. It was quite a while ago, actually. But it was a good decade ago. But recently, compared to their other things, they had a big wait between their albums and this one that came out in 2013, which was just called MBV, My Bloody Valentine, but it was called MBV, the album. Um, it was more of the same. It was more of what you expect from My Bloody Valentine. It was very related to Loveless. Some of their earlier albums were a bit more towards like what you might call normal guitar sounds, and even though he still had his attention to detail as far as the tonalities and the distortion, um, his earlier stuff may be more related to things like maybe Cocteau Twins or something. I don't know. Maybe that's not fair. But then Loveless came out and sort of changed the world, changed the landscape, kind of opened it up for people that, always kind of wanted to turn their guitars up louder than they should. Now it's okay, you can do that. And so a lot of shoegaze bands were born. And but then there was a chunk of time there, and then this MBV album came out. This is what it looks like. This is the MBV album. Um, it is a great album. It came out in 2013, and it really takes you back to that to the way you felt when you first heard Loveless. And evidently it took a long time for this album to come out because Kevin Shields was working on it all this time. Evidently he's very meticulous in the studio, probably turning knobs until it's perfect and recording things until he gets it just the way. And when you listen to this album, you do get that impression that this is a lovingly crafted work of sonic art. It comes at you loudly, and it's very full, and I think it's excellent. I love this album. It's got some songs on it, and of course, but like song type songs. There's a song on there called Only Tomorrow that I really love. It's got like a solo, like a guitar solo kind of thing that comes out in it that's somehow not a guitar solo, but it's not. And there's a few songs on here that are sort of drones. There's a song called Nothing Is that kind of just repeats, and it does that thing that I talk about once in a while where the idea is to repeat something, to cycle something, and to drone something in a way that repeats, and you listen to it, you get into it, and that drone, that repetition will sort of generate a kind of a trance vibe, which is the way a lot of people have found, with dance music and music that's electronic dance music, like, EDM, IDM, whatever, where it's repetition and people get into that trance, and some people call it trance music or ambient or something, or ambient trance or something like that. And the idea, I think, is just to sort of put you in a phase of mind where you are you're just sort of going with this cycle, with this machine that's driving you along. You're not really listening to a song. You're not listening to the lyrics. You're not listening to the key changes or the chord changes. You're not being pulled along through a story in the song. You're just listening to a cycle of sound. It's hard to, that's why this thing is called confusing and ambiguous. It is not easy to explain why that kind of music is appealing, or why it works, or why it doesn't work for some people. Some people are like, it's just annoying. It goes on and it never stops. Sure, yeah, but it's also something that you can, it's like a movie. You can watch a movie that has a story, but you can also watch something on your TV screen that's just, like a screensaver or something, like those Apple screensavers that show you a landscape in Iceland or something. It's okay to watch that too, and to just sort of get into the sort of trance-inducing drone feeling of flying slowly over Hyde Park in London or something. And this music is the audio version of that kind of thing. I've mentioned gamelan music before as a droning kind of repetition kind of music. This is not so much that. Kevin Shields and the My Bloody Valentine thing is more of a blanket of sound, and it really is kind of like it wraps you up in this sound, in this kind of wave of almost like a guitar distortion world. I can't think of a better way to describe it than those things that I've just said. And other people may have completely different experience of My Bloody Valentine than I do, but I think it's distorted guitar, drums, bass, that kind of thing. But there's also this very calm voice a lot of times singing. I believe it's Belinda Butcher is the singer. Her voice is so calming and smooth and dreamy, and on top of this nightmare assault of a distorted guitar, which is not really a nightmare assault to me. It is sort of a cloudy thing to me. I'm being sort of synesthesia here, but the voice takes it into this kind of calming world, and in a way it's music that I think, when you go see My Bloody Valentine play live, beware. I don't know if they're out there touring or what, but back in those days when they were dangerously loud, like painfully, horrifically loud, and would sometimes play a droning chord sound for 30 minutes. Seriously. I'm kind of not going to go see them live, but I love listening to their records where I can sort of choose the volume myself. But I really like Kevin Shields. I love the sound he gets out of that Fender Jaguar or Jazzmaster or whatever it is, his single coil pickups. He doesn't use a guitar with humbuckers like a Les Paul or something. He uses a Fender, which has made a whole lot of people who play music like that pick up those guitars, those Jazzmasters and Jaguars and Mustangs and whatnot. The sounds he gets out of his rig are unique and very carefully crafted. The songs themselves on albums, they'll be interspersed with some droney type songs, but there's in there some beautiful melodies, beautiful melodic stuff that is just fantastic. I really love My Bloody Valentine. And I think that's all I'm going to say about him for now. I may go back and do a review of Loveless one of these days, but the MBV album is really good. And thanks for listening, and I will talk to you again real soon.